Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at race number 7 at Santa Anita on Saturday. It's a good betting race, this Grade 3 San Simeon for horses going down the hill at about 6.5 furlongs on the turf course. Let's take a look at this field. We've got 9 entered, and as you can see by the morning line, there are no real standouts. Lane Way has been a solid turf sprinter in Southern California for the last few years. Won the Eddie D2 starts back. You kind of know what you're going to get from him. It's a good, solid performance.
Yeah, shows up and runs every time. Obviously, his top race is going to make him really tough in here, Dan. We'll see what kind of trip he can pull in here.
We'll throw up the Timeform US pace projector with some more clues, and they have Laneway in stalking position. Dancing Buck is quick. I think Mucho Del Oro is going to try to show a lot of speed as he did last time out in the Clocker's Corner. I think he makes the lead over Dancing Buck, and I think the pace will be fair, not explosive or slow.
Yeah, I felt the same way about it, Dan. I mean, certainly Dancing Buck is fast enough to come out of there running and try to make the lead, but I thought the 3 was more likely to be on the lead in this race. He actually ran pretty well in his most recent start, did Mucho Del Oro off the layoff.
The number 1, my numero uno, an Australian bred who started his career down under on the turf, made his North American debut in this spot, an allowance race on Tapeta. I thought all in all he ran third, considering it was a layoff, considering they ran 1-2 all the way around the track in this short field, and he tried to make up some ground. The runner-up came back to place in an allowance at Golden Gate with an 88 buyer. I think Paddy Gallagher used this race as a prep. We'll see if it's enough.
Exactly. Seemed like he probably needed this one, just couldn't really make up any ground. He was lucky to save third at the end of that race, and he just was getting very tired. Probably needed it. Have no idea how good he is, Dan. It does feel like turf is probably his surface.
Rodeo scratched out of the Kilroe Mile last week to concentrate on the San Simeon, and maybe he's found a home as a late-running sprinter going down the hill. He scored the Clocker's Corner. The race will show you right now, and he had to overcome some things in here. The horse on the lead is Mucho Del Oro. Irideo is sort of in behind horses right now. But boy, this trip worked out under a very patient ride from Jeremy Laprida. Great ride. The trip works out. And then Irideo's still got to run.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like he was maybe going to get skunked there in the upper stretch, but he found room on the rail with enough time, and he will come running here. And just now, a tiring Mucho Del Oro on the lead there. Good performance. He was almost 20-1 that day, Dan. You're going to take a shorter price this time.
I needed Mucho Del Oro in that race. You knew he was going to lose at the 16th pole, but all in all, I thought it was a decent performance considering it was his first race off about a 7-month layoff. He had to deal with some solid fractions. They went 21 and change, 43 and 2, and he was still hanging on at the end. It validated O'Neill's decision to place him in a stake off the claim, off the layoff, and with his speed, he's going to be right there turning for home as the 3, Mucho Del Oro.
I agree with all that. I mean, I know that's a pretty tough beat in that most recent start, Dan, and maybe it's the kind of loss that you don't like to see where he has a clear lead past the 16th hole and he gets nailed. But he was off the layoff there. He got tired. And it's also just worth noting there was the horse that he had to concede the lead to in that race, that Hamwood Flyer. He's a fast horse. He just had to let that horse go and then chase him around the track, and it probably cost him at the end.
Dancing Buck, the number 4, a graded stakes winner on the East Coast, sprinting on the turf when trained by Michelle Nevin, made his first start in Southern California for Rick Dutrow in this race. The Joe Hernandez going 6.5 on the straight course. The Joe Hernandez was a race completely dominated up front. They ran 1-2 all the way around the track, and Dancing Buck has his shot turning for home. It's just that Forbidden Kingdom's kind of a weird horse. When he feels like running, he runs like this, and when he doesn't, he's usually way up the track. He felt like running, switching to turf.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I have no problem with this performance from Dancing Buck. I was a big fan of his back in New York with Michelle Nevin, and he obviously ran really well in that first start for Dutrow. But he also had a great trip in that race. He was right up there on the pace with the winner, and he was not going by in the stretch. I'm not knocking this horse. He's probably going to be a fair price in here. I think he can win. I don't have him on top in this race.
Still trying to figure out what distance is the best for the number 5 Sumter, who started his career. Maybe he would be sort of a 5/8 turf sprinter. Then he won a stakes race, a couple of them, going a mile on the turf at Santa Anita. His most recent start, they turned him back in the Clocker's Corner. The race won by Irideo. He ran fine to be third that day. His first race as a gelding. I could see him take a step forward.
Yeah, I can too. I mean, I'm with you though. I don't really know what he really wants to do. If he wants to go longer, or if he wants to go shorter. Maybe this, these down the hill turf sprints are the happy medium for him. I don't know. He ran fine in the Clocker's Corner. He did have to come widest to the stretch, and we saw the winner come up the inside there. Maybe it made the difference, Dan. I just thought he was third best.
Up next is the 6, Ottoman Prince, returning off of a 5-month layoff, making his first start in North America for trainer Phil D'Amato after selling for $180,000 at public auction overseas. This horse really improved last time out over the firmer going at Epsom. It was interesting. He wore cheek pieces for the first time that day. I don't think that's Phil D'Amato's game.
Yeah, I liked the improvement he showed last time too. He got an overall good trip. I just liked the way that he stayed on because it felt like the closers had a real shot at him that day, and he was not letting him get into it. I also liked the way that he started his career. I know it was on the all-weather surface, and I know he was 80-1 when he won first time out. He ran great that day. He did not luck into that win. He did not get a good trip. He really ran in there. I think there's some talent here.
Lane Way, the number 7, won the Eddie D over the straight 6.5 furlongs 2 starts back. They ran him the Stormy Liberal in his final start of 2023, and we're going to take a look at that race right now. It's a 5/8 race, 5/8 furlong race, which kind of, Mike, is not his game. And the fact that this pace wasn't fast didn't help him either. I think getting back to 6.5 down the hill where he's had success could really be the key.
I agree. I'm not going to hold this race against him at all. And we'll just see how he comes back now. We've sort of talked about him in the open. He's got plenty of tactical speed. He doesn't need to be on the lead, but I think he'll be forward in this race. I think there could be a really good trip coming this time. He's got plenty of races that make him a major player in here.
Air Force Red is the number 8. This is another horse that has shown speed on occasion, and he can certainly be fresh. We haven't seen him since Belmont Stakes weekend of 2023, where they tried him in the Jaipur. He showed some brief speed. He tired badly that day. Something must have gone wrong because he went to the sidelines immediately thereafter. He showed some ability here going down the hill last year. A win in the Hernandez, just missed in the Siren Lure as the chalk.
Yeah, I didn't know what to make of him when he won the Hernandez last year. Just he got so loose on the lead there and never really faced a challenge. But after that, he ran a couple of other good races. The Siren Lure was good. He just missed in there, but that horse that beat him's pretty good.
Daniel's Magic completes the field for trainer Owen Hardy. He was 4th behind Irideo in the Clocker's Corner. Did you see an excuse for him that day?
I mean, I didn't. I don't know if you agree with that or not. I thought overall that trip was fine for him. He had a shot at it through the stretch, and he just wasn't quite good enough.
Let's take a look at our top selections for this year's edition of the Grade 3 San Simeon. You're going with the Stranger, and why not? Ottoman Prince is now with D'Amato, who dominates all turf races in Southern California, seemingly. And again, his last race shows firm turf is good. Hopefully, the rains have gone away for good in Santa Anita.
Hopefully. I mean, he's this horse, it's not an easy spot for him, I guess, but I didn't see a real standout in here, Dan. I just thought it was sort of a wide open race. He should be a fair price in here. And I think he might go a little underrated in here, Dan. His form overall is pretty good.
The Dancing Buck ran pretty well last time out. Again, I was a little disappointed because it was a hard race for me to analyze. Just the pace held up, and he was right up and on the pace. The pace will be quicker this time, but he's also been a solid horse for most of his career. I think he'll be right there when they cross the dirt patch. 6-3 forward, 8 for Mike, 4-2-3-7 for me. Good edition of the Grade 3 San Simeon at Santa Anita on Saturday. Good luck.